I have an idea revolving around the Spider-Man thing.
Okay.
Like, with all three of the original, like, Spider-Man movies, Tobey Maguire, you had the 3 stages of a type of hero, where you had the good guy who was actually an interesting character because he was learning how to be a hero. You had the secondary one where he knew what he was doing, and then you had the third one where they didn't know what to do with him anymore, so they slapped some black on him and said, go. Which is a problem. You can run out of things to do with your hero, especially if you don't develop more than just, hey, he's a hero character traits.
Yeah, especially when you did a little too much with the story with the second one, and you're kind of like...
And then you're out of things.
Yes, exactly. It's like, what do we do now?
But if you contrast this with the comics, like the comics go way further into like Peter's like personal life. There's a lot more going on. Like he's not always with Mary Jane. We got the whole Gwen Stacy thing. There's tragedy in his life, and it's not always a superpower thing. Sometimes it's related to the Spider-Man, but sometimes it's not. But he has a life outside of being Spider-Man, and it's hard. And that's one of the things that's interesting about him is that he masks his grief and depression with humor. And that makes it interesting, but then the movies just want to be all like, he punches the bad guys, and then you run out of material because you can only punch a bad guy so many times before it's stale. I mean, the cartoons did it well versus right now, Raimi movies, first few did it well. Then, what was it, Amazing came out?
Yeah, they always like to go emo instead of going humor.
Well,
like, who goes? You got
both of them.
Well,
both sides are important.
Well, in my opinion, like the first 2 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were good because the themes from 1 carry on into 2. And, you know, and you get this nice kind of build-up where it's almost like they, you know, and to top it off, that it's a really neat trick they pulled there where it looks almost like they filmed these 2 movies kind of at the same time, but they did it like you know, a while apart. So that's a pretty cool trick they managed to pull off there, and that's something you don't see a lot of times. So
but then the third, they just didn't have that same vision, and just...
Well, that's mostly due, that everyone knows is mostly due to studio interference at that point. Because they insisted on Venom, he wanted to do Sandman and do the whole Uncle Ben's killer thing. He was even willing to concede on the black suit thing to go with the whole dark angle, but he was all like, no, I don't want to put Venom in this movie. I want to, you know, he basically...
Venom's got to be his own movie.
His original plan was to cut it off at the church scene where he rips the suit off and it falls onto Eddie Brock. That was the original plan, was to, you know, and then do a 4th movie where it all continues on from there. You know, and he deals with the consequences.
Keep going, talk about comics.
But okay, so basically you have, when you're building a hero, you need to figure out what their motivations are, how they handle grief, how they would handle tough situations to help you move the story on. One of my characters...
And they also need to have lots of like weaknesses.
Lots of weaknesses.
Not just like, you know, kryptonite, but emotional weaknesses, things they do wrong.
If you can avoid physical, like, item weaknesses, unless it's like, you know, they have a favorite food that if someone puts in front of them, they will stop everything and go for it.
Or it's something elaborate like in JoJo's where it's just interesting to see how it shakes out. But
JoJo's is the exception, it's built on being ridiculous. So.
But you want to keep things personal weaknesses, like, with, like, just to make things interesting, because if, like, let's say you have an OP hero like One Punch Man, his weakness is not in his powers, his weakness is in how bored he is being the most
powerful. It's like there's no suspense in the fights. We know he's gonna punch them. But I mean, the comedy and the drama comes from, you know, he's bored.
His biggest excitement is, will he make it to the store in time to catch that lightning sail? Like, or does he have to go fight that monster down the street first and miss it?
So the drama comes more from these everyday like person things, like, you know, being broke, you know, trying to get people to like you rather than like, you know, punch.
And also, like, a lot of people, the biggest mistake they make when they first start writing characters is they want to make their weaknesses also their strengths. Like, oh, this guy is scarred, he has scars all over his face, but it just makes him stronger and cooler.
Or she's like super clumsy, but it never comes up at a point where it actually hurts anything. It just takes her like kind of cute.
Oh, and actually she's so super clumsy that sometimes it actually works in her favor because she trips into the bad guy and he rolls over.
Yeah.
Which can be hilarious because that could end up being their superpower. But then you also
But
have
it's
that
not
different weakness.
Yeah.
Because then it's a strength because then it's a luck thing.
Yeah.
Like, and you can make good guys that are extremely unlucky. Where, like, yeah, they want to do everything right, but every time they try to do something, they, like, knock down a building and have to get, like, the city sues them. Like, rebuild that, please.
Or just, you know, Ashton from Star Ocean, like, so unlucky that he got dragons fused to his back, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it works when you're dealing with a comedy premise, when you're approaching it from a comedy standpoint, you know.
Yeah.
And you can have weaknesses become a very serious thing, like you have a character that wants to help, but has like the thing that they need to help with is like a trauma of theirs, like they really don't like snakes. It's like, why do they have to be snakes?
Or, you know, the person who doesn't work well with others and then encounters a situation where he can't just lone wolf it, and then like he gets into worse trouble because he didn't just accept help.
Yeah, and like the entire story could be like, hey, if he had just gone and said, hey guys, you're my friends, I need some help, and then it would have been all handled. Because like you can end the story with literally his or her friends like popping in and being all like, we're here to help. He's like, I don't need your help, we're helping anyways, and then like they fix everything. Versus him causing more and more problems as he works through the different like issues that are not solving in his favor.
I think a good example of that is what you're talking about is in Marvel Netflix The Defenders, Jessica Jones, she's a boozer, she hates everybody. The idea of her working with anybody was abhorrent to her, but she got together with Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and they worked together with Daredevil. That's a good example, because Jessica Jones now will work with anybody.
That wasn't a problem just for her. It was a problem for most of them.
For most of them. But so then what you're talking about, it worked pretty good in that series.
But then you can also have the opposite problem where someone's weak without their friends. They know that they're weak without their friends and they want their friends' help. Like I have a character in my story, she's actually very powerful, she can do what she needs to do, but she's not emotionally strong. So without her friends around, she's really kind of useless, even though
without emotional support, she's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like, no.
Or she'll think like she thinks if she steps in, she'll make it worse, or she knows she'll make it worse, or just various things set up, and she just doesn't want to do anything. She's frozen. Either she like just has paranoia about messing up, or she again knows.
But an important thing that one of my writing teachers told me was that your job as a writer is to put your characters in a tree. And then you throw rocks at them until they either find a way down or fall out.
Yes.
Because stories are about change and about growth. And if you start off from, being perfect, you don't have anywhere to go. You haven't put the character in the tree, So the character's got to be in the tree, and we want to see how he gets out. And maybe he falls out, maybe it's a tragedy, or maybe he figures out how to climb down.
Yeah.
But you gotta create those situations for them to do that.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of other examples. Then you also have this is kind of going to villains, but you have the villain who's secretly the hero. You have the good guy who wants to do right, but everything they do just makes everybody hate them more because what they're doing is terrible. And you can portray them as the good guy in your story and like show everything from their perspective, but eventually you do have to switch the perspective to show why they were so wrong.
Good examples of villain protagonists. As much as I hate the direction it went, Death Note. As much as that story fell apart to us,
Until the end of L Saga.
Or if you guys have played Off, that obscure, not so obscure indie French game.
Basically,
you play as this guy called the Batter, and you're in this weird surrealist minimalist world full of ghosts, and you're killing the ghosts. You're purifying the place. And he's dead set on purifying all of the zones. But as you go on, it kind of gets like, if you go back to the places you've been, when you go back to them, they're empty. Nobody's there anymore. And as you keep going on, you're like, something's wrong here. I don't think this guy's on the up and up. And at the end, you finally find out that, yeah, he's been trying to destroy everything.
Okay.
Then you,
Spoilers, sorry.
yeah, sorry. So you're finally given the choice, like, do you continue playing as him, or do you switch to this other character and fight him?
Ah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
it's a great,
and
great game.
you can create both that way. Like you can
Mhm.
create a dichotomy in the same character
Okay.
being both.
Okay.
And like when you're creating a character, you want to know this ahead of time. You
Mhm.
don't want to get to that point in your story where you're like, oh crap. Whoops.
It's like, oh, I did
Because
not.
it takes time to build up the switch, and you want to make sure you like put things earlier in the story to just hint at it.
Because you always want your reader to understand and empathize with that character, especially if they end up being terrible. Because you want the reader to really have to think about it. Like,
Mhm.
I really hate everything they're doing, but I really empathize with why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But then you also have the ones that start out as villains and then become good guys, like the guy. What was his name?
My
Red
favorite
Lantern.
trope.
Huh?
Oh,
Red Lantern.
Razor.
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 Like he started out as a villain, you think he's gonna be a big bad, or Spike from Buffy, he does start out as a bad, and he's like
He was a
but then
straight up villain.
He was a villain,
Yeah.
but then he like
Then he became a harmless villain who kind of helped, you know.
and then becomes eventually a hero, and that is probably the hardest journey to write, but also, God, it's the most
Yeah,
satisfying.
it's hard to make it feel like deserved, but
Yeah.
and also then you have Dragon Ball Z that friggin', you know, Piccolo
Well-
used to be the big bad, now he's like
Best
babysitting my
friends.
kids. You know?
Well, I was going to say in Spike's case, that worked out mainly to a great confluence of circumstances. In the fact
Yeah.
in the fact that it
It's a
was
lot of it,
hero.
in the fact that it was Joss Whedon and his team doing the writing, the fact that Marsters was a really great actor who
But it
just
also
pulled it
worked
off.
out.
Yeah, it felt believable
It
from
felt
like
believable,
the way it developed.
Well, it's because of the work that again came together from an actor who
Yeah.
was able to.
No, we're not denying that, don't
Yeah.
worry.
I'm just saying, but again, that's
Yeah.
part of the thing. It's really hard to make that work because you got, if you're doing like a show or a movie or
Yeah.
something, you need an actor who can pull
Yeah.
that off.
But
You
also,
need
when
an
you're
actor
writing
who
a comic
understands
or your
the
own
character.
series, you also need to understand how to do it yourself. And
Yeah.
really because you can have a great actor when you're having a show, but when you're writing a comic or a book,
But
you have to do it
if the
yourself.
writers
Yeah.
don't understand the character, then you just have really great performances
Also, as
with
a
bad
writer-
writing behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're a writer and you haven't experienced this yet, you will. You will have that character, or multiple characters sometimes, who will just be sitting behind you in your brain and going, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
No.
It's like you try to make them do something and they're like, no, that's not me.
Yeah, like I have one character who I created and ended up being a major character in my story and one of the heroes who I initially put in the story as a side character. If they work in the story, use them.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but then then you have the unwilling hero, like Bilbo Baggins, or like the hero that it's like, no, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this? Like the ones that get thrown into worlds and they're just like, okay, I want to get home. You got Dorothy. You got the people who are just they're just wanting to go home.
Right.
They didn't want to go on this adventure in the first place.
I think a really great example of more recent things, I don't know if anybody reads Cucumber Quest, which is a webcomic. It's good. It's
Okay,
good.
alright.
They recently started putting out actual published volumes of it, so you can actually buy it now. But main character is named Cucumber. He got into magical school, and he's so excited to go to magic school because he's a huge nerd. And then he gets a letter from his dad saying, "Hey, so it's the family tradition to become a hero every 1,000 years. This
Okay.
Nightmare Knight guy comes along, and the men from our family have to fight him." And Cucumber's like, "I don't want to." And his sister's like, "I'll do it," and their dad's like, "No." So Cucumber has to
It's
leave
tradition,
school.
damn it.
Yeah,
That's
he has to
right.
leave school and he has to go on this quest, and his sister's tagging along like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the thing." And he's just like, "No,
Which isn't
but it's leading into this storyline where because he doesn't want to fight this guy, because he's so not buying into this whole, cycle tradition thing, he's trying to think of ways, how do we stop the cycle? How do we get this guy to stop coming back every 1,000 years? And that'll be a better solution.
I was gonna say, this kind of sounds like the recent book that I read, called The Librarian's Vampire Assistant. This guy who was a vampire is trying to solve the murder of his creator, but at the same time, he meets a librarian and ends up in a job interview to be her library assistant, and he ends up being in trouble too, and he has to not only solve the murder of his creator, but also see what's going on with her, with the drug cartel. I mean, and he gets into this situation saying, yeah, now I have to work for her, and only that, keep everything protected.
Yeah, these unwilling protagonists are really good because they're easily relatable, because in the end they all kind of tap into this whole, like, let's be real here, like, even though we all want to pretend like in a crisis we'd be like super cool, most of us would be like, oh my god, I want to go home, I don't want to do this. So they're relatable, like, that is a relatable feel, like going like, I do not want to fight this ultimate evil, big, bad, magical guy who can like turn me into a scorch mark. No, I'm going home. Someone else can do this.
It's like, I don't want to stay in Phoenix, I want to go back to
No. It's the guy from Clerks. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I was supposed to be here today.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then like that also leads into the hidden hero, where you have the person who's like, I'm the hero, I'm going to save everything, look at me. And then you get into the actual story and they just get killed off or can't do the thing.
The bait and switch hero, then it's like, oh no,
they
this
can't
guy
pull a sword
doesn't.
from the stone, they don't have the powers to do the thing, they chicken out, they do something, they just choke.
Or they're just the one
And
who
then you
gets.
have the other person step up and be like, no, you've got to do this thing, this is entirely you. And then like this also goes in Lord of the Rings, Samwise.
Yeah.
He was the true hero of that entire series. You think it's Frodo the entire time, you go in there, and then he's like, I claim the ring, rather than like throwing it in the fire.
Frodo was messing up all that way. He would not have even made it there without Sam, and then when he did get there, he would have just been like, no.
And then Sam's like, no, you gotta throw it in the fire.
Yeah.
And then you have a further hero in Gollum, who like
yes.
dies putting the ring in the fire, even though he doesn't mean
He
to.
wasn't trying to put it in the fire, but he made it happen.
But yeah, no, the hidden heroes are the really good ones. Actually, like not Teen Titans. Attack on Titan really disappointed me because I thought they killed off the main character. I'm all like,
Yeah.
wait, is the girl the main character?
My
Did they
biggest
lie to me?
disappointment was I thought they were gonna kill off the main character, and I was like, oh my god, is the show just gonna be about his love interest and his best friend learning to live without him after having joined the military for him? Like, I thought, oh man, this seems really compelling. This is a great show.
No, he comes back.
No, he comes back. He's the chosen one. You know?
Yeah. But you can also, that is also an interesting way to write heroes, where you make them the annoying one that just won't let the other people take the spotlight, like Harry Potter.
Yes,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, please!
Harry Hero Complex Potter.
Let Neville shine, please.
Yeah. And like, despite everything happening to him, like, it's really interesting in the books that it was by happenstance that he was the hero. It could have been Neville Longbottom. It could have been reading Neville Longbottom in the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yes.
But Harry Potter just had that insatiable urge to like, oh, I see a problem. I guess I have to take care of it.
Yeah.
And also Voldemort just being all like, well, the Potters
Yeah,
have a more
Voldemort's
interesting
right,
name and
and
they're
it's
more
everything.
attractive. I'll go after
I
them.
go after this.
So,
Well, Well, plus he already thought he nipped that problem in the bud by capturing Neville's parents and torturing them until they went insane.
Yeah, so he's just like, nah, Neville's not gonna amount to anything. I took
He
care of
figured,
that already.
I nipped that problem in the bud. Now to deal with this one.
And then Neville hit puberty. It's like, pacha, sword. Yeah, Neville.
Then there's also the shy hero who lets themselves be in the shadow of the person in front and has no intention of taking the front lead. But they still are the focus of the story. You can tell from being either from their point of view, or the third person always is putting them first in the paragraph, so like you see their mind more. Like you can tell they're your main character. But they don't want to be the hero. They want to be the person who helps the hero.
They really want to be that supporting character.
And you can take that several ways. You can write it where they do eventually become like the main good guy, or they could maintain their status as the side runner. And you could have the ones that get jealous and the ones that never get jealous, no matter how much they should.
Look at my awesome friend who does all the things.
Dude, I'm the clerk. I stand in the back buffing the party. I'm not the main character.
Yeah, the
I'm
white
the
mage,
support.
essentially. And it's important to have those characters, the ones that aren't going to turn up against the main character just because they get popular or just because they are the focus of all the attention. You want the characters that stand to the side and are there to support. Because if every character gets upset when the main character is too cool, then you just end up in a story where their enemies are their friends because they're too busy going, no, be my friend, I swear, I'm not conceited.
Although, like, jealousy situations are so, this made me think of Persona, and I'm gonna go off on a tangent. My favorite thing in the world, like, I don't know if you guys have played Persona 3. There's a character named Junpei, and in the main game you play as a dude. So, like, in the main storyline, there's this huge thing where he gets really jealous because he only joined the group like a day after you did, and everyone's just letting you be the leader, letting you be the cool guy. You're doing all the saving in the world, and he's like, I can do that. Let me do that. No, you can't do that. And so he gets really jealous and threatened by you. Yeah. But the funniest thing in the world to me is one of the re-releases added the option to play as a girl. And when you play as a girl, there's none of that. Junpei's just like, wow, you're so cool. Were you scared during that? Oh, no, it's okay. We're cool. And it's like, Junpei is not threatened by me at all. But at the same time, like, it's not like he's not taking me seriously. And I'm like, he's not threatened by any of the powerful women in our group. Because even though, like, I am the squad leader, I'm taking orders from a lady. He's not threatened by her, except not wanting her to hurt him. So it's like, he's only threatened by dudes. He only gets jealous by dudes. When girls are being awesome, he's like, that is acceptable.
Yeah, and that also leads into...
That's a complex character right there.
Yeah, it is.
and that also leads into like characters that accept defeat. Like JoJo's is a really good example of that. DBZ, Dragon Ball Z. Like you have characters that come in either as villains or even good guys that just want to be the cool guy, and then they get either shown up by the main character or beaten by the main character, and then they go, "Wow, that guy was really cool."
Defeat means friendship.
Like he punched me in the face. I guess we're friends now.
Or Kaneki the Mightiest Disciple, it's the same way.
That was another good example of that. It literally was. You punched me in the face. We're friends.
Shonen anime is so full of that, and I love it to death. Just the whole like, I respect your skills. We're best friends now.
I respect your skills. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and that's a really fun, like, good guy to write because, like, you can have them come from bad guy origins or good guy origins, or just be the person you never expected to join in on the group. Like, you have, like, let's say you're writing a school story where you have the girl or guy who's like the smartest kid in school, has the best grades, and then your character comes in and like shows them up with their grades, and they're all like, cool.
Yeah.
I need to study harder now.
This can create a really good dynamic. Like, one of the reasons why everybody loves Vegeta is because, like, his whole thing is that, like, he's second best. And he, even as he becomes friends with Goku, he still wants to beat Goku. He's always trying so hard to get stronger than Goku. And you really empathize with him because he's working so hard. He wants it so bad.
He just wants to win one. Just one.
Just one. So you can really relate to him because, like, he just wants to be the strongest guy.
Too. He's all like, no, you don't get to kill him.
It's all like, no, he's my rival. You can't have him.
But yeah, it leads to really fun and interesting scenes to write, and it's just like that's actually the frustration I had with like Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter series.
Yeah.
I'm just like, for the love of God, just become a friendly rival.
Yeah, like
Actually,
be a proper rival
actually, that's the
here.
funny thing. Lee Pace, who played the dad in the series, talked about the fact that he was kind of disappointed that a lot of the complex character stuff that happened between Draco and his father didn't show up, because he went back and read the books.
But
I really wish though they'd redo it as a series.
Well,
like
as
a
TV series.
The reason he was disappointed was because
pleasing in a cartoon.
at least near the end they still didn't focus on it.
Yeah, one of our things we want most in the world is if they just took Harry Potter and adapted it into a video game with the format of Persona, because Persona's whole thing is it's about time management, it's about going to school. So you go to class, you gotta answer questions, and then you like gotta manage your after school time and fight the bad guys. So you gotta like, okay, this day I'm gonna go fight bad guys, this day I'm gonna stay in a study.
You have the time in which you have to go, what's in that one wing that we're not allowed to go into? You find out by a certain date, and then but you have to go make sure you go to a class and study too. And you have to like make friendships with kids around the school, and then just like something that makes it more complex. Because like when you have a hero, it's 2D, it's hard to